Now, I assume you clicked on this video because you're probably an old school RuneScape player who is trying to avoid burnout, or you're already experiencing it and really are lost and don't know what to do. I'm going to give you some of the tips and tricks that I use to ensure that I can continue playing the game for hours a day and not get bored and actually get on and continue to have fun. So, first things first, you got to know what burnout is. Basically, it's going to be when you're mentally or emotionally exhausted. It can be physically as well, but in this case, it's usually going to be mental or emotional. And usually, you're going to know that you're burnt out when you just don't feel like getting on the game, or you log on, you look at your bank, you look at your inventory, and you're just like, I don't know what I want to do, even though there's probably a ton to do, but you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't feel like playing. I'm just going to get off. So you log off after being on for about 3.5 minutes. So in that case, you're probably burnt out. So in the future, whenever you get back to it, there's going to be a few things that you really should do to avoid burnout. Now, the most important things as an old school RuneScape player, you're going to want to set short-term and long-term goals. Now, when you're setting a short-term goal, in our heads, I feel like a short-term goal could be getting 99 in a skill. That's not a short-term goal. I feel like some people think it's a short-term goal because it's like your long-term goal is to max. So your short-term goal is getting maxed in one skill. That's just not a short-term goal. you know? A short-term goal will ensure that you see progress and give you a little bit of a rush that you need to keep going. So with that being said, an example of a short-term goal would be, say you have 70 fishing, but you want to get to 75. You set your short-term goal of getting 75 fishing. The reason for that is because getting to 75 fishing once you're at 70 is going to be pretty quick. You're going to see those levels fly in. You're going to complete that goal. You're going to be happy. Now, long-term goals, you definitely still need. However, long-term goal maxing, for example, is like a super long-term goal. That isn't what I would say is a long-term goal that you should focus towards. Eventually that will come. But for example, if you want to get to, let's say you want to get to 85 fishing or 90 fishing for a specific reason, but you only have 70, you set that as your long-term goal. Now, short-term goals, I definitely think that a short-term goal you can just fixate on and work on endlessly until you reach it. Because usually a short-term goal isn't going to take you 100 hours to get. Whereas a long-term goal, I don't recommend sitting down and only grinding that out. That's one mistake I feel like a lot of old school RuneScape players make, and probably just a common occurrence in the MMO world in general, is we set one goal and we fixate on it. So myself, for example, when I was going for the BOFA, I was like, I want the BOFA. Let me get all the quests and everything out of the way. Let me learn Corrupted Gauntlet and let me grind for this BOFA. I did only Corrupted Gauntlet every single day for months. And it really did get to a point where, if I was getting on, that was the only thing that I was doing. And I still wanted to grind for it, but I was only doing like 1 or 2 hours here, 1 or 2 hours there, or I was just doing like one run, hopping off, doing something else, coming back, doing one run. It was just very mentally taxing, especially for a grind like that where you have to focus the entire time. It's not an AFK grind, So it was very hard for me. I regret doing it the way that I did it. In the future, if I were to do that again, I think I would just set a goal of doing X amount for the day and then going and doing something else, relaxing a little bit. It's just very, very easy to burn out and want to quit if you don't achieve the drop, So you have to kind of build yourself up to it. So the best way to fix that is, in a game like this, in a game like RuneScape, remember there's just so many other things you can do. I understand that there is probably a main goal you're trying to get to, whether it be raids or Corrupted Gauntlet or anything else. I understand that's the main goal, but everything you do in the game has some sort of purpose. So do some other stuff, If you are grinding out the BOFA, for example, maybe go and AFK some ranged or mage in the meantime. So if you are doing hours of Corrupted Gauntlet and you just want to relax, AFK some skills that are going to help you towards that goal. You know what I mean? That way you're not just stuck in one spot the entire time. If you can bring yourself to it, take a break from your main grind. You know, if you're going for 99 fishing and you're now 90 and that's all you've been doing for the last 3 weeks, take a break from it. Go do some other stuff. Maybe do some other skilling. Maybe start cooking that stuff. Maybe do some mining. Just do some other skills, you know? Try to mix some things in. Do some farm runs. Do other things. There's so much more to the game than doing one thing at a time and burning yourself out. You need to be having fun. That's what games are all about. Games are about having fun. If you're part of a community, that can definitely help as well. Everybody grinding and you see everybody else attaining stuff, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to attain something too. That's going to help a lot, and it's going to go a long way. So maybe join a community, join a clan, talk to some people, meet some people. Games are much better with others. I understand that there's a lot of people who maybe you have social anxiety. You don't like meeting new people. You don't necessarily have to talk even, but join a clan chat, see what's going on, and maybe you will end up wanting to talk. If you're primarily a skiller, maybe you can go do some combat. Now, if you have a level 3 skiller, obviously you're not going to do combat. In that case, just do some other skills. But if you can do some combat, go do some combat. Switch it up, you know? You don't want to fixate on one thing and then feel burdened by the lack of progress, you know? And like I said, it's a very hard thing to overcome, especially as a RuneScape player. I just feel like other games like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, like you kind of have like a goal that you're kind of working towards. RuneScape is much more sandbox, I feel like. So you can really do anything that you want to do. But now we're just so fortunate in 2024 when it comes to RuneScape, especially old school. There's just so much to do. We have mini games. We have a ton of mini games. We have new content coming out all the time. Try something new. Try something you haven't tried. One other thing we fixate on as a old school RuneScape player a lot is the XP per hour. We have to get out of that mindset. I understand, like I said, if it's a short-term goal and you just want to get it done as fast as possible, find the best possible way to get it done and just get it done quick. I'm all for it. I do it myself. But when we're looking at XP per hour for things like Slayer and things like just everything, it becomes so much more burdensome. It's just so much easier for me to hop on and be like, you know what? I'm going to go train some Slayer today, see what we can get, see if we can get some cool drops, and just have some fun. Versus getting on and saying, I need to be getting 25k XP per hour because in 6 hours I want to be done with this and I want to move on to something else. Those two are just two totally different extremes. You know what I mean? So we just got to take a step back, take a deep breath, enjoy, and remember that it is a game where we can socialize, we can meet other people, we can do whatever we want in game. You know, we have to take that step back and realize that. Time to take control, build up that mental fortitude, and still achieve those goals while still being able to play however long you want each day. If you want to play 1 to 2 hours, go ahead. If you want to play 12 hours, go ahead. You just have to be having fun. If you're having fun, everything in the game is going to be so much easier. The grinds are going to be so much easier. If you have people to talk to about it, it's going to be easy. Those are my recommendations for avoiding burnout. Hopefully this video helped you out. I know I'm not saying anything too crazy out of the ordinary that you probably haven't already heard, but it's always nice to know that somebody else is experiencing the same things that you are. So get out there, get those gains. If you need a community to join, go ahead and hop in ours, and hope to see you around. Good luck, Scapers.